Last year, we got to check out the AyaNeo Flip DS. It was awesome. It's a PC handheld with the power of an ROG Ally X. And it has an additional tiny screen at the bottom that's perfect for native resolution Game Boy Advance games. But the real draw here is 3DS emulation and even Wii U emulation, which was so good, it surprised me a lot. Well, when this new one was announced, the AyaNeo Flip 1S DS, did you write all that down? I really wasn't all that interested. Sure, it's more powerful, but not by all that much. And it's way more expensive. But that bottom screen is way better now, making this a little better for Wii U emulation. Or just 3x2 retro gaming in general while you're watching something completely different on that top screen. Basically, everything looks better on here. Wii U, 3DS, hell, even original DS. Look at how big and crisp everything is. It's amazing. Plus, it's got so much horsepower. You're getting some pretty amazing frame rates for such a tiny form factor in some beefy games. I love this concept. And I didn't get one for myself. I figured last year's model was good enough. Then I somehow convinced myself to pre-order one, and then by that time, only the $1,300 one was available. So I begrudgingly pre-ordered that. Then an anonymous donor decided to let me borrow theirs. So I canceled my pre-order. Now I'm $1,300 richer. So grab a snack and whatever the hell else he says, and I'll tell you all about how hot this thing gets after this video's sponsor, Factor. This video is sponsored by Factor.
Hey, how's that Factor meal?
Yeah, pretty good.
Oh, that's cool, that's cool. I've been eating clean. I only eat what I grow in this garden. If it's not homegrown, it doesn't go in the belly zone.
Okay, what do you grow out there, I guess?
Well, me and the wife planted a lot of stuff this season. And all we have to show for it is mint. Like a lot of mint. Like I'm surrounded by mint. Hey, you want any mint?
Nah, I'm good.
Oh, you sure? I made the best mint salad last night. And then tonight, I'm making a mint stew. And then tomorrow night, we're doing a little bit of steak and basil. But we're replacing the basil with mint and the steak with mint. Oh, and then the next day, we're doing a little crab rangoon.
Factor's fresh, never frozen meals are ready in just 2 minutes, so all you have to do is heat and enjoy. Skip the grocery store prep work and cooking fatigue. Instead, get chef-curated, dietitian-approved meals delivered right to your door. And they've even got smoothies, juices, and wellness shots, and breakfast?
Mint barley, mint bark, mint lasagna, mint cold cuts.
Hey, should he be there?
Who? Oh! Hey! Hey! That! Leave it! The trainer said positive reinforcement only. Leave it! Leave it!
You can pop it in the microwave if you're in a hurry for just 2 minutes. Sometimes I forget to eat. I don't plan my meals out, so having Factor in the fridge ready to go has helped me a little bit healthier. You can try it for yourself by going to factor75.com or click the link in the description below and use code YAHUNGRY BF50 to keep changing the code on me to get 50% off plus free breakfast for a year. They have breakfast? I could have gotten breakfast. That's code YAHUNGRYBF50 at factor75.com to get 50% off plus free breakfast for a year.
Mint casserole, mint soup, mint chocolate, but the chocolate is also mint. Leave it.
You know, I have an extra Factor meal if you want.
Oh my God, please, I'm starving.
Come in here.
I'm coming in there.
Come on.
I'll be right in there. Leave it. Just give me a sec. Leave it.
We're going from an AMD 8840U to an HX 370, which should provide somewhere around a 20% performance increase, but that's hard to quantify. And also, not all that much of an increase at low frame rates. There's also cheaper models that still have the 8840U in them. It's physically the same size and shape as last year's model, which is fine. It's a little chunky, but it's reasonable given the power that's in here. It's the most compact PC handheld that I know of at this power level, and it's got a whole second screen in there. The top screen is a 7-inch 144Hz OLED screen, and it's kind of beautiful. It's also got HDR, although AyaNeo's HDR hasn't been all that great. The bottom screen is a 4.5-inch 1620 by 1080p LCD screen. That's a pretty insanely high resolution for how small this screen is. The combination of these two beautiful screens makes this thing pretty wild. You can do dual screen emulation, but you can also just multitask. Playing games on one screen and just watching stuff on the other is kinda sick. I didn't expect to get this much enjoyment out of such a simple feature. Or you can just play games on one of the screens and then have a whole ass player's guide on the second screen. Put your phone down for a while. All of the brain rot you need is right here. It's comfortable despite its weird compact size, but it is a little awkward just because of where all of the buttons are. The D-pad is rough to use. It's clicky and it feels nice on its own, but it's just in an unfortunate spot. And the thumbsticks are a slight improvement over last year's. It doesn't feel like you're digging your thumbs all of the way in there with how recessed they are. They're like, fine. These are all reasonable compromises given the size of this thing. They had to do a lot to pack so many buttons in here and still have it feel comfortable to play. But why is one of the thumbsticks smaller than the other? That's just a weird look. This whole thing looks bizarre.
Is it swappable? What the Why is it smaller? That's so weird.
Look at how many buttons this thing has all around it. And they're all different sizes and shapes. It's just such a weird little device. Luckily, the hinge feels great. A lot of these Eastern devices tend to have pretty terrible hinges, like the Wii U Flip and the Retroid Flip, but this one's solid. Nothing has gone bad with my old hinge, and it doesn't look like anything's gonna go bad with this one. And the articulation is pretty fantastic. You can go all the way back. AyaNeo is not known for their software. This is not a very user-friendly device, but AyaNeo does their best here. The ISpace software does have some neat tools for the bottom screen. It defaults to showing you all this telemetry, which is handy. It can also double as a keyboard with the press of a button, and a trackpad if you want. The keyboard specifically is a really useful feature that I've been using a lot. Another really helpful feature is this smart dual screen tab. You can pull windows from the top screen down to the bottom. It's a necessary feature because you can't just fling windows over with the touchscreen. And even the trackpad or the nubbin mouse aren't good enough options for moving screens around.
I cannot for the life of me get Chrome to go back up. Back to main. Use. And back to main. And get up there.
So I use this smart dual screen feature a lot to move windows back and forth between the two screens. But this isn't the entire fix for dual screen gaming. Sometimes like a window would fall off of screen and it was a pain to try to get it back on the screen with this little touch screen. That's just Windows jank. That's unavoidable. Also, sometimes this controller just wouldn't work for me. I think because when it's on the desktop, it's in desktop mode. And when it uses certain apps, it's in desktop mode. Why would I ever want the controls to be in desktop mode? That's what the keyboard and the trackpad functions are for. One of the first things I noticed is that the micro SD card slot just did not work for me at all. I don't want to knock too many points off for that. Maybe it was just a fluke. Also, the Asus ROG Ally also has a dud micro SD card slot, so not the worst thing. I just transferred my games with USB-C. But immediately after setting this thing up and transferring all my games, I noticed that this thing gets very hot.
Oh my god, the screen is so hot. Hold on. Holy shit, dude. You could fry an egg on that thing.
And it gets hot on the front. It's actually uncomfortable to touch the screen. It specifically gets hot where the bottom touchscreen is and also where the left thumbstick is. I watched it go up to 130 degrees at one point. It's a concerning amount of heat. Part of the issue could be that the intake fan is on the bottom, and when it's resting on a desk, that intake is blocked. But even just holding it in your hands can block this intake. And even with nothing obstructing the intake, at full power settings, it's still gonna get concerningly hot. The good news is the fan noise isn't really all that bad. I've heard worse. Battery life is all right. Don't expect to get more than an hour on some like AAA games, but you can put it into balanced mode and get a pretty decent amount of time playing lower powered indie games or retro games via emulation. I mostly use these devices at full power in the performance modes because I want to get the most out of these devices when I play them, even if it is for a short period of time. I did switch over to the balance mode a little bit when I was playing a game like UFO 50. And when I did that, I noticed I almost always got a DLL error. The balance mode would still work, but I would always get an error for some reason. It actually just happened to me right now. There it is. I also noticed that at full power, I couldn't get this little TDP icon to show more than 15 watts. I maxed it out in the settings, so it should be 28 watts. So I just did an update via the Aya space, and now it's looking like it gets the full TDP. The number shows the full thing. And look at that performance, it's so much better. I think the actual issue with the TDP might have been handheld companion. Whenever I have that app open, it seems to mess with the TDP in unpredictable ways. It's definitely a bug. So I'm only going to use that app when I absolutely need it for gyro controls. Now it looks like we're finally getting that increased performance. It looks like we might be seeing that 20% boost because of this new CPU. I played Death Stranding, and although it took forever to load into a game, the frame rate is pretty decent. At around 42 frames per second, it's on par with some other handhelds, but that was when I tested it at 15 watts by accident. At 30 watts, I was getting frame rates more in the mid to high 50s, which is way better. The 1080p screen looks nice and crisp, and I didn't really get any of the frame dips that I experienced on some other handhelds. I've been playing this game a decent amount on the Lenovo handhelds, and I would say this is a substantial improvement in performance. This is more in line with that 20% increase we were talking about with this new SoC. Marvel Rivals plays pretty well at 1080p. At first, I was testing it at 15 watts by accident. That wasn't so bad. That was about 45 frames per second, but at the full 30 watts, we were getting 70 and sometimes more than that in the practice area, and 55 frames per second when opening a portal in the practice area. This is pretty great. Not many frame dips during gameplay, even in Doom Match, which has portals everywhere. It's pretty stable, pretty good performance overall. Resident Evil 4 got me somewhere around the 58 frames per second mark. Nothing remarkable here, but pretty damn smooth. We could test more PC games, but I want to dive into emulation. I usually avoid emulation on PC handhelds because you know that it's powerful enough to play any emulated game you want to throw at it. But in this one, that's the draw here, is these dual screens. People are gonna want to see 3DS and Wii U and stuff. This bottom screen is kind of a banger for Game Boy Advance games, and now it's way bigger. So this is kind of the best Game Boy Advance emulation you can get right now. Oh yeah, but then you got this whole top screen you have to do something with. This 3:2 aspect ratio on the bottom screen is also perfect for DS emulation. I've never seen DS games look this great. It was a bit of a pain in the ass to set up. I used Melon DS, which didn't show up at first. I had to fling it to the bottom screen from the ether. Setting up the controllers was janky because the settings went off screen. To get the two screens to be separated, you need to make an additional window, then show only the top on the top one and only the bottom on the bottom one. Then fling the bottom screen over to the bottom using AyaNeo's smart dual screen feature. But now, the only way to get it full screen is to map a full screen toggle to one of the buttons under the controller setting. Just make sure you click that OK button that's off screen. It's honestly not that hard to set up. It could be a lot worse, and it is well worth it. And this has never happened to me before, but my actual save from my physical copy of Sonic Rush just worked without me having to do anything, so that was pretty neat. I guess just putting the save file next to the ROM and naming them the same thing is enough for Melon DS to figure it all out. I was recommended to use Azahar for a 3DS emulation. This is because the newest beta build has functionality for dual screens. This was extremely easy to set up. Enabling full screen is also extremely easy. I could not remove the top bar from the bottom screen, so that's a little ugly, but this is a 4:3 game on a 3:2 screen, so I honestly don't care enough to try to fix it. I remember there being a fix for this on the original Flip DS, and I remember it requiring an additional software, and I think this is good enough. I don't need to bother with that. And this is powerful enough to play any 3DS game you could throw at it. And it should be. This is a $1,300 3DS. The only hang up with Azahar is that it requires decrypted ROMs, which is not a big deal. Just decrypt your ROMs. It's not that hard. This was all suggested to me by my anonymous donor. They helped me set this thing up. Rhymes with Schmetro James Shore. Damn it. Fuck. Wii U emulation using Cemu is also great. It's very easy to set up, assuming you've done it before. I've got a video on ripping your physical Wii U games and putting it on an emulator, and even restoring online functionality to your physical Wii U or your emulated games. It's honestly a lot of fun to do, and it's very easy. You should try it for yourself if you have a Wii U laying around. So I kind of just took the folder that I had already from ripping all of my games, and I just farted that over to this thing, and everything just works fine. The AyaNeo has built-in gyro, but the AyaNeo software does a piss poor job of managing it. It basically only allows it to act as a cursor or a thumbstick. So to get an app like Cemu to recognize gyro correctly, you'll need a third-party software like Handheld Companion. You can use Handheld Companion to make the controls emulate a PS4 controller. That way, gyro can be built into the controls. Now, everything just works in Cemu. It's like you're using an actual Wii U gamepad. And I expressed all of this last year, but it feels like this is how some of those dual screen Wii U games should have been from the very beginning. This is like a better Wii U experience. You don't have to look up at your TV and down at your gamepad and then up at your TV and down at your gamepad. Everything's right here. It turns your Wii U games into beefy DS games. It's amazing. I think this alone is enough to want to get a dual screen PC handheld, on top of the bomb-ass multitasking when you're playing a regular Steam game. That being said, this thing isn't really like all that much better than last year's model. The OLED is very nice, and that bottom screen being significantly bigger is also very nice. And that slightly increased frame rate and stability is also very nice. If you're in the market for one, definitely get the newer one. You might not need the HX370 version. Save a couple $100 with the 8840U version. That one will have more than enough horsepower to emulate everything that you need. And it'll still be able to play AAA PC games just fine. How badly do you need 8 more frames in Death Stranding? I don't think it's worth upgrading to. I already have the old one, and that one was half the price of this one. It was $800 when I got it. I'm gonna miss this fantastic bottom screen, but I think I'm gonna like having $1,300 a lot more. That's like double the donation fee of a dog. Hey, Yumi, come here. Oh, he costs $600. So was that worth it? Oh, you can go back to sleep. I'm sorry. So what do you guys think about the AyaNeo Flip 1S DS? I didn't even talk about this yellow color. All right, it looks fine. Leave in the comments below, at me on Twitter, all this other social media garbage. Share this video with somebody who might be interested in this level of 3DS and Wii U emulation. This is the year of the dual screen handhelds. We have this, we have another AyaNeo Flip coming out. That one is Android. We have a new Ein Loki that just got announced. That's dual screen. We have the Retroid Pocket screen that they just released. We got the 1X Sugar wacky looking thing. It's such a great time for all those kids whose parents used to dump them off of my GameStop in 2011. Thank you for sitting through this whole video. I know I'm not the first to market with these reviews, but I appreciate you waiting for me to post it and sitting through the whole thing. Thank you very much. Have yourself a very good week.